Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 68 of the Big Brother Season 24's overnight feed recaps. Night 68. Do y'all realize that means only 2 weeks, 14 days left in the season? We're getting very near to the end of it. So, welcome to Cliff Notes, and let's talk everything about what happened last night. A little bit more chill. We had the veto ceremony yesterday. Just as a refresher, we've got Monty as the HOH. Brittany had one veto. Sure enough, as expected, she used the veto to pull herself off the block yesterday. And also, as expected, Monty replaced Brittany with Taylor, but the target remains Alyssa, who stayed on the block. It's almost a complete certainty that Alyssa's going home. I just don't see how it changes. So, with that in mind, everyone's basically on the same page that Alyssa's going home. I think even Alyssa's realizing it. So a little bit more chill last night, although we still had some campaigning. We still had some people having conversations about how they go forward as well. So we're going to talk about all of that. So on to the feeds themselves. Late afternoon Big Brother time. We've got the house guests have spent most of the afternoon napping, hanging around in the backyard, just enjoying the backyard while they still have the opportunity. Because of that, we did get an extended session of Alyssa talking to the cameras, walking around a little bit, talking to the cameras. She is upset that some people in the house have said that what she looks like has kept her protected in the game for as long as it has. And she's responding saying, no, it's actually the relationships that I've established in this house, especially with Kyle and Turner and Monty, that's what's kept me in the house. They don't value the shell of what I am, that they're valuing the relationships I bring on the inside. So she's a little perturbed that some people have said that just her looks is what's got her where she's at. She's also still upset with Terrence and some of the things that she has heard that he said about her. When she goes to jury, it may be a little interesting to see how she and Terrence interact, because she has been talking about this for a while and really still seeming like Terrence is the one that she feels most offended by in terms of what she's heard he said. So we'll see what happens with that. Eventually, we get everyone but Taylor sitting around the hammock talking, but really talking non-game. I think Taylor is asleep on the couch in the backyard as well. So they're all outside, but all but Taylor sitting around talking. They're talking about the early part of the season, talking about Pooch trying to form alliances with everyone. Pooch's preference for not wearing a whole lot of clothes. They're laughing about that as well. There's talk about them traveling after the show, where they maybe would want to go. I think Turner says he's happy just staying in New England for a while. Seems like everyone else wants to do a little traveling here and there. Talking about how nice it's going to be sleeping back in their own beds again. I got to say, after 3.5 months in that house, getting back home, back to the things that you're used to, it was quite incredible. So they're talking about some of that. They're talking more and more about what they're going to do after the season. They're realizing that this thing is just almost done. All right, we've got Brittany and Turner in the car bedroom talking, trying to kind of smooth things over. And this is Turner's idea. He's talking to her, and he tells Monty later, says, man, we don't even look at each other. It's really awkward right now. So he just wants to try to smooth things over as much as he can with her. Brittany is talking to Turner about it and saying, look, Monty's trust in me is irreparable at this point in time. And she's saying, is that the true? Same with you, Turner? Is it beyond salvation? And Turner's saying, no, everything's repairable. We're fine. And he said, we could repair this. And he's saying, and here's the other thing too. He said, nothing that happens in this house I take personally. It's a game. He said, whatever happens in here, I'm good. She says a little bit about that she's this information about what her career and what she said and all that. And Turner said, I don't care. I don't care about any of that. It's a game. He said, outside the house, we're going to be friends regardless of what happens in here. So Turner's trying to stay on better terms with Brittany, because who knows who wins HOH, who wins veto. So Monty has kind of gone out of his way to call out Brittany a little bit. Which isn't always the safest thing to do for your game. Turner's going the opposite direction, saying, yeah, no, it's fine. Whatever happens, it happens. Turner is telling her, I mentioned the career. Turner is telling her that Michael had said while he was campaigning during the double eviction right before the votes, that Michael had told Turner that Brittany was lying about her job along with a whole bunch of other stuff. He also told Alyssa the same thing. And I mention that because this has got Brittany worried. She has a long conversation a little bit later to the cameras and to herself about this. They start talking about this late night conversation that happened in the bathroom where so much of the mistrust didn't originally start. There was already some there, but the conversation where the final two was proposed between Turner and Brittany, they're talking about that. Turner saying, look, I'm a little bothered that you proposed a final two to me. And then the very next day, Michael tells me that you're trying to get me out. He said, the two of those just don't go well together. And Brittany's responding back saying, look, I didn't really see it as proposing a final two. It was just a talk. It was just us evaluating options. That's the way I took it. And I'm sorry if you took it a little differently. I didn't intend that. It was just evaluating options. I didn't see it as a final two. It seemed kind of like a final two to me. But she's saying that. Brittany's also saying that Michael was aware of that conversation, that, if he said something like that, I'm not real sure, because he was aware that I was talking to you, and Michael was trying to get as much information, or I was trying to get as much information as I could for Michael in my game. And so Michael was fully aware of that conversation. In other words, I wasn't betraying Michael when I did that. Later, Turner tells Monty, says, that doesn't make sense, because Michael seemed pretty on board with potentially getting Brittany out if need be. And I'm just not sure that he would have been as comfortable as she seems to suggest that she was doing that with us at the time. So he's not really certain that Brittany's telling the full truth when she says Michael was aware of that. Brittany also mentions, this is interesting. She told Turner at one point, she says, look, I just don't know that my vote on Thursday even matters. And Turner says, well, why is that? And she says, because I know that you and Monty have a deal to vote out Alyssa. So even if I vote to save, if I voted to vote Alyssa or whatever, well, it's not going to matter, because Turner's already going to do that. And so, whatever, I'm outnumbered anyway. So she's saying it just doesn't matter. If y'all are both going to be voting out Alyssa, it doesn't matter whether I vote her or Taylor either way. Because even if she voted Taylor, which she won't do, but even if she voted Taylor, if Turner's already planning to vote Alyssa, Monty breaks the tie. So she's saying it doesn't matter what I do on Thursday because of this agreement y'all have. And Turner seems a little surprised when she first mentions that. But he basically confirms that, they have agreed to that. But he asks Brittany, says, please don't tell Alyssa. We're going to tell her, right before the eviction, maybe the night before, whatever. He says, I don't want her to have a horrible week in his house. So please, if you would, don't say anything. Brittany says, I swear I won't say a word to her. We'll see. We'll see if she wants to stir things up a little bit. But anyway, so she is aware now that yes, Turner is planning probably to vote Alyssa out as well. So Taylor will be safe. Eventually, we've got everyone on the balcony outside watching the sunset from that upstairs area of the backyard. Lots of talk about other reality shows, who would enjoy going on Amazing Race, The Challenge, things like that. And from that point, they again start rehashing some of past events in the house, what's happened so far, the jury members, what they're doing over there, what they were thinking, and things like that. Eventually, everyone just kind of migrates inside or downstairs doing laundry, things like that, until finally we've got Brittany and Alyssa by themselves. So Alyssa takes advantage of this little opportunity to start doing some campaigning to Brittany. Now, that's a tall order to convince Brittany to vote out Taylor on the week coming up, but it's really Alyssa's only move, right? It's that and Monty. She's got to convince one or the other, but she's starting with Brittany. She's saying, look, I don't want to just pitch you, Brittany, on the fact that I can't win anything and I'm horrible at this game, and therefore why would you ever send me out the door? And she's saying, I don't want to pitch based on that, but I'm not sure what else to say. And then she follows up, says, I understand that you and Taylor are close, that I'm not necessarily asking you to flip on Taylor and to vote her out. I'm just asking that, when I talk to you later in the week, that you at least listen to what I say and everything. And Brittany saying, oh yeah, sure. No worries at all. But she does say, and it turns out this is eventually her pitch. She says that if Brittany wants an HOH win to add to her resume, that she surely can beat Alyssa a lot more than she can beat Taylor in this next HOH coming up. And she's saying, so if you have me in there, you'll probably beat me, and you probably need that HOH on your resume. So keeping me in the game is going to help you make that final pitch at final two. The other thing she talks about is the fact, she says, I can't even give a speech without crying and breaking down. She said, I'm horrible at speeches, whereas Taylor has these incredible speeches that she has given every time. She's used to being on the block. She's very comfortable giving speeches. And she says, if it's a final two, do you want to be sitting next to Taylor or sitting next to me? She says, Taylor's going to blow everyone away with her final two speech. She says, I won't even be able to get the words out of my mouth. So why would you want to go to final two with her, Brittany, instead of with me? It's a decent pitch. I mean, she's working with what she's got. At that point, Alyssa also confirms to Brittany that Michael also told her that Brittany was lying about her career as he walked out the door, which we'd seen already. So again, Brittany's getting confirmation of a few different people about this. Everyone in the house knows that Michael said that, but Brittany's getting some confirmation at this point in time. Taylor eventually comes upstairs, joins the other two girls. So there's no real additional strategic talk at that time. But they're talking about the game and how people handle it, talk about how Michael went out and just generally what the game does to you and how you handle the stress and all that. All right, we've got Turner and Monty in the HOH room talking. Nothing really new to discuss. Turner rehashes his conversation with Brittany. Both of them are talking a little bit about the fact that they blindside. Well, I don't know, was it blindside? I guess it's a blindside of Michael in that double. And both of them are hoping that Michael respects the game enough that he doesn't take his eviction too personally. In other words, I hope he's not a bitter juror that won't vote for one of us if we're on the block because of what we did to him. They're all thinking about jurors and who would vote for him, who's bitter, everything else that's going on. All right, we eventually have Taylor and Brittany in the upstairs area, the backyard as well. Brittany is confirming that Turner is going to go ahead and vote out Alyssa, which obviously makes Taylor very happy to know that she's covered. I think she said, are they all on the same page? Brittany says, yep, we're all on the same page. So I think it'll be a unanimous vote. I say, yeah, it only takes two. So, but yeah, I think both votes will be to send Alyssa out the door. So Taylor's happy about that. Brittany is saying that they're kind of happy to hear this, just to get confirmation. Brittany's very happy because she's mentioned to Taylor that if either one of them wins veto, that they're both going to be safe. They're both going to be in final three. That all it takes is either one to do it, because even if Taylor and Brittany both go up on the block by whoever wins HOH, Monty or Turner, let's say, well, one of those, that whoever then wins veto can pull themselves off the block, and then they're the only vote. So then they protect the other one, send either Monty or Turner out the door. So they see this path to a final three, and they're very happy about that. Now, here's the thing. Would Taylor save Brittany if she had the chance? If Taylor wins veto, Brittany's still on the block. Would she save Brittany, or would she go with the final three of Turner and Monty instead and let Brittany go? I kind of think that she would save Brittany. She's got to feel like she's got a better chance of winning the jury vote, right? I think she would. So I think Brittany's on to something here, saying just either one of us wins the veto. Brittany's also explaining to Taylor Alyssa's pitch, that she'd be easier to beat. And Brittany's saying, Alyssa doesn't understand. That's not what I need. We need to win this veto. We need to win this HOH. So I need someone strong supporting me that can fight with me and for me. I don't want to have to fight by myself, send you out. And now suddenly, yeah, I can beat her, but it's going to be that much tougher to beat Monty and Turner. She said, I want you here with me, Taylor. So between the two of us, we've got a better chance. So she's saying Alyssa just doesn't understand that what she's pitching is exactly the opposite of what I really want for Thursday. All right. Remember I talked Brittany talking to the cameras a little bit. Brittany had a long conversation with the cameras. Everyone else is in the kitchen fixing meals and all that. And Brittany is back in that Jetsons bedroom, just really not happy at all. She starts off by saying, I said earlier I was 75% certain that Michael didn't actually betray me. Now she says I'm about 0% certain that that's the case. She's feeling much more that Michael just intentionally threw her under the bus. And I think it's because she's gotten the confirmation from some of the others, Turner and Alyssa, that yeah, he talked all about your career was a lie, everything else was a lie. So she's feeling very upset that Michael seems to have intentionally thrown her under the bus and gone beyond just trying to play a little bit game with everything. So she's upset about that. she's worried now what he's going to tell jury. Is he going to be telling them that Brittany's lied about everything and she's not who she says she is? So with that in mind, she's debating how does she handle specifically this idea that her career isn't what she really has said, that she hadn't told anyone she's a hypnotherapist. And she's saying, do I downplay it for the people in the house? Or do I play it up that, oh, I'm this huge mastermind and I kept it all under wraps? Do I play it up for the jury? Do I underplay it for the people in the house? She just doesn't know how it's going to work. She's not worried. She's not certain how it's going to help her or how it's going to affect her gameplay going forward. And just what does she do about this secret career that she has? Well, here's the thing. No one really cares. Not at this point in the game. It doesn't really matter. It's all about who's going to vote for you, against you, who's going to save you, who's not going to save you. She's spending way too much time worrying about this. She's overthinking the entire situation. But Brittany tends to do that sometimes, right? So she's going on and on about her career. Now, one thing she is worried about is that she's tried to build this trust with Taylor, and she feels like Taylor's her closest person in the house right now. And she's worried that Taylor's going to lose trust in Brittany if she knows that Michael knew stuff about Brittany, such as her career, that Taylor didn't know about, that Brittany didn't trust Taylor enough to give her that information. And so now she's wondering if Taylor's going to mistrust her because of that. Talking about her standing in the house, she's saying that she knows Monty's against her. She feels like Turner probably is against her as well, that he's been nicer and all that, but she said, I know he lies. I'm not going to get caught up by him again. I can't really count on Turner as well. Yeah, she's right on both of those. She's saying that her strategy is that she doesn't want to look like a threat, and she needs to hide how badass she truly is and how much of a leader she actually is. She needs to just continue to make herself look like a complete non-threat, doesn't have a clue what's going on, and just is lost inside the house. Yeah, I get it, and fair enough, but at this point in time, I just don't think it matters. All right, meanwhile, we've got Monty and Taylor and Alyssa in the kitchen. A little issue here. They're talking basically on good terms with each other, but at one point they're talking, as they've done all day long, talking about everything that's happened in the past inside the house, and they start talking about the week that Taylor was HOH and that she, Kyle almost used a veto, and if so, she would have put Alyssa on the block. And Taylor mentions that, oh, I had a brutal speech lined up for you. And Alyssa says, well, what is it? What is it? Well, Taylor eventually breaks down and tells her, probably not the best idea. But Taylor tells Alyssa what her speech was going to be, which is something along the lines of, you had a first-class ticket to London. Now you can take your 5K to the jury house. And I didn't think it sounded that horrible, but Alyssa doesn't handle it well. She's like, wow, okay, wow. And just a little bit later, she gets up, goes into the golf bedroom, and it's just you can see that she's very taken aback by what Taylor had planned to say. Taylor eventually goes in there and is trying to smooth things over and saying, it was a long while ago, and it's just, it is what it was back then. It's no big deal. And Alyssa saying, no, it's fine. I get it. It's no big deal. But it obviously hit her. It hit her a little hard what Taylor had planned to say. Taylor goes back into the kitchen. Monty's saying, man, you really did number on her on that one, didn't you? Hey, mean Taylor. So, yeah, that was kind of a little bit of a faux pas there. Because Alyssa's just feeling, I think she knows that there's a good chance she's going home. So anything she hears, it's a little bit of a slam on her. Even if it happened a month ago, it's still just all weighing on her and building up. And she kind of told Taylor that when Taylor went back there. All right, the house has gotten a couple of decks of cards. Turner's teaching Monty gin. Later, they start playing some games of bullshit, the rest of the house as well. So they got some cards to keep them busy. It starts getting really boring in that house when you get this few people in there. So they're going to appreciate that deck of cards. Eventually, we've got all but Brittany in the backyard chatting. They're talking TV. Alyssa mentions that while she was in sequester, she watched 4 seasons of The Office. Sequester is great for binge watching. I binged watch Mad Men. She binged watch The Office. They're also talking about Seinfeld, Friends, How I Met Your Mother, all these different shows of the past. Conversations about rice versus pasta, birthmarks versus moles. In other words, a whole lot of non-strategic conversation talking about. A little bit of talking about how they found their keys, how their intros were filmed before Big Brother shuts that down real quick, saying you're not allowed to talk about production. I'm amazed they got to go as long as they did with it. Turner is saying that, all right, now this is a little interesting, a little delicate moment here. Turner is saying that Kyle had told all the leftovers that the other side was going to be really upset at Alyssa when they found out that Alyssa was responsible for their downfall because she had told Kyle about the old school alliance. And so that Kyle had said that they're all going to be upset with Alyssa because that. Now, where the screw up occurred is Turner then says that he just wanted Alyssa to know that before she went to jury, so she's not caught off guard by the fellow jurors. Well, saying when you get to jury, yeah, I need you to know this now before you get to jury. Alyssa again is visibly upset and caught off guard that Turner has so matter of factly said when you get to jury, especially because it's Turner saying this as opposed to someone else. If there's anyone that she's perhaps counting on a vote from, it's Turner. In fact, earlier she'd said, look, I just need to get Brittany and Monty on board, right? One or the other. And Turner saying, yeah, you got me. It's just them. Well, not so much. So she's upset about that. Eventually, Turner tries to do some damage control by saying, whenever you get to jury, if you even get to jury, all of us may get there and all that. And I just meant it like that. She knows. She later says, I think to Taylor, I can't remember who, Taylor and Monty says, I'm hearing all this stuff now. I thought I probably didn't have anyone's votes, but now I'm hearing this as well. It's rough. So yeah, Alyssa understands that what's getting ready to happen later this week. All right, there's more talk about past people, events, alliances, etc. Alyssa does mention, and I think she mentioned this before the Turner conversation. I may have these out of order, but Alyssa's saying that the old school really wasn't active. That they never met. They was just mentioned one time. They all said, yeah, sure, and that no action was really taken other than that first meeting. It just wasn't a big thing at all, which surprises Monty and Taylor. And they're saying, look, old school was formed to combat leftovers was formed because we thought old school was there working against us. And so, oh well, it worked our advantage, but they're amazed that old school wasn't more active than it actually was. Brittany's starting to drag a little bit. They tell her to go sleep. She says she's trying to stay up so she can match their schedules. Everyone else stays up so late. She's knowing she needs to do everything possible going forward to try to stay involved with everyone else and stay involved in the conversations. Eventually, they move into the kitchen. They're baking banana bread. Alyssa's calls herself, I think, a stressful baker or something. So they're making banana bread. They're talking about trying out for Big Brother over and over again. Brittany says she made the semis in season 17 that she's just tried out a dozen times or whatever. So she finally made it on. Eventually, we got everyone sitting in and around the hot tub. They're talking about ants, hot tub injuries, sex in space, sports, what reality TV teaches people. In other words, a lot more non-game talk taking place at this point in time. Before they go back inside for more banana bread, more card games playing with each other. Eventually, they go back outside to play the ladder game, and then that turns into I think everyone but Brittany is outside at that point, a big dance-off, showing everyone your dance move, kind of dance competition taking place in the backyard. And as of like I don't know, as of like 7 o'clock Big Brother time, they're all still, not all of them. Turner, Monty, and Turner are still in the backyard talking and playing and everything else. I had to call it quits so I could tape this. A little dangerous, I think, from Brittany and Alyssa's standpoint, especially Brittany's, that you've got Turner and Taylor and Monty, the three of them outside visiting. They've got a final three. I know Brittany wants to sleep, and it's not, you can't stay awake all the time, although some of these house guests seem to suggest otherwise. I think Brittany needs to be out there hanging with these three and doing anything she can to try to keep Taylor from feeling any closer to those two guys than she already is. But it is what it is. So there you have it, guys. Again, not a huge amount of conversations. The big one is just the confirmation that Turner is planning to vote out Alyssa, and everyone's pretty much aware of it at this point in time. Alyssa will continue to do a little campaigning, but I just don't know that her heart's in it at this point in time. So we'll see what happens over the next few days. It's all going to come down to the veto and HOH competitions Thursday and Friday. That's where it's all going to happen. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Tuesday. I will be back tomorrow morning to give you updates about what may have happened. Who knows? The whole house may explode over, not literally, But all kinds of things may happen overnight. If they do, I'll be back tomorrow. And if they don't, I'll be back tomorrow morning as well. Let you know what happened overnight. Until then, guys, y'all have a fantastic Tuesday. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.